In March of 1968, a pair of children playing in an abandoned Greenwich Village tenement in New York City discovered a young man dead on a cot, surrounded by beer bottles and religious paper handouts. There laid a man unidentified by the world, a castaway lost soul that was unknown and unclaimed by any family or friend. Such cases were very common in New York City at the time. After authorities failed to link this man with anybody in the civilized world, they declared the man died from a hardening of the arteries, a common side effect of long-time heroin abuse. They decided to bury him in a mass unmarked pauper's grave on the Bronx Hart Island, a graveyard seen as the last resort for any person. The homeless, the sickly, the neglected, the forgotten, those that are considered shadows to the world. They are the ones who eventually end up here. The cemetery's chaplain, 45-year-old Justin Von Bujos, says, "No one lives their life thinking that they'll end up here."
And she was the first person to be buried here in Potter's Field on Hart Island. Since then, over the past 109 years or so, a total of 650,000 people have been buried in graves such as this. The coffins are buried 3 deep in trenches. When known, names are etched on the boxes, each plot carefully marked.
That unknown man was later identified as Bobby Driscoll, the young boy who was once the real-life Peter Pan, who Walt Disney himself once said, he was the living embodiment of childhood youth. My name is Jesse Diaz, and today we'll dive right into the story of Bobby Driscoll, the boy who never grew up.
Young Bobby Driscoll was assigned to the role of Peter.
Where is that villain, Captain Hook? I'll slice him up and throw him to the crocodile.
Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Bobby Driscoll arrived in Southern California at a very early age, with his parents Isabel and Cletus Driscoll. His career all started with a trip to the barber shop at the age of 5. While getting a trim, his barber encouraged him to attend a movie audition that was taking place locally. Out of all the other young kids that auditioned, Bobby got the part. It was only a bit role in the 1943 film, Lost Angel. This was the beginning of a career that would catapult the young boy to stardom overnight. After his breakout role in the now banned and infamous movie, Song of the South, about a boy who visits his grandfather's plantation, he would start a successful relationship with the Disney Studios and be the first male actor to ever secure a contract with them. What they saw in Driscoll was the perfect all-American kid. He would go on to star in 4 movies by Disney, including Treasure Island, Peter Pan, and So Dear to My Heart, which together with his role in The Window for RKO Pictures, earned him the Juvenile Academy Award in 1950.
This award is for the best performance by a child actor or actress during the year 1949. It goes to the little boy whose performance in The Window and So Dear to My Heart enchanted moviegoers and critics alike, Bobby Driscoll. Bobby?
I've been so thrilled in my life. It's wonderful. But I want to thank everybody that had to do with me getting this award. And I want to thank God for giving me such a wonderful mother and father. Thank you.
Unfortunately, this would be the peak of his stardom. After many years of being seen as a sweet, innocent kid, he had now grown into an acne-faced teen, deemed unmarketable by the movie studios. His life as the golden child of Disney was now cut short, and the next generation of child actors would take his place. His adolescence had marked the beginning of the end for Driscoll, a chapter in his life that he was never fully able to get over, even up until his death. The sadness that this personally brings to me is that Hollywood, just as it always has, ruthlessly pulled the rug right from under him, gave the boy all the desires and wishes of the world, only for him to harshly find out that it all perishes. One evening while driving up to the entrance of the studio, he would be denied entry and informed that his services were no longer needed. That was his notification that his contract with the Disney Studios was terminated. Now 17 and trying to forge a new path for himself, Bobby was forced to become a normal civilian after years of having his every whim catered to. Never having any normal friends, he would struggle to find any companionship in high school. In a rebellious state, he would leave his parents' home to try to find a new place to belong to. I wish I could say that my childhood was a happy one, but I wouldn't be honest. I was lonely most of the time. A child actor's childhood is not a normal one. People continually saying, "What a cute little boy," creates innate conceit. Other kids prove themselves once, but me, I had to prove myself twice, with everyone. He would eventually find some hope in his declining acting career by landing some steady work in TV shows, even though it wasn't the box office Disney movies he was used to. It kept him engaged in something for a while. That is until a crippling heroin addiction would completely take over his life. Trouble never seemed to be too far away from Bobby. Before the age of 30, he had already been divorced twice and was arrested multiple times for drug possession, assault, burglary, and check kiting. This period of Bobby's life was always turbulent. He struggled to ever find himself. Prison sentences were the kiss of death for actors in those days. By the time the 1960s had arrived, Bobby was in a complete spiral out of control. I was carried on a silver platter and dumped into the garbage. He said in an interview after his arrest, "I was earning $50,000 a year, working steadily with good parts. Then I started putting all my spare time in my arm. I'm not really sure why I started using narcotics. I was 17 when I first experimented with the stuff. In no time at all, I was using whatever was available, mostly heroin." After some time, strangely enough, he would find himself in the underground art scene in New York. He would forge an unlikely relationship with, out of all people, Andy Warhol. This is where Bobby would make his last known appearance, in an underground documentary called Dirt. No one seems to know how the then 31-year-old Driscoll spent his final days in New York. His demise happened in complete silence. I wonder and hope that in all the turmoil that he found himself as he was lying down in that cold New York floor, that he would have been able to utter some hope of repentance, that the peace that evaded him in this life may be found in the next one. It's hard to come to terms with how Bobby's life ended. Opposed to the many films he was a part of, his end didn't have a fairy tale twist to it. His mother Isabel, who had not heard from her son in years, found out about Bobby's death nearly a year and a half later after placing advertisements about his disappearance in New York newspapers. Family and friends were left to ponder, where did it all go wrong? A boy who seemingly had it all, doomed to meet such a tragic end. A boy whose name was once known by the whole world, only to spend his last days a lost soul wandering through the world. The sad tale of Bobby Driscoll's life should not bring on judgment about his actions, instead a grief mourning, for many in his situation would have ended the same. The boy actor did the best he could. If maybe he would have had better guidance, fate would have turned out differently. Maybe. If you have enjoyed this video, I would ask that you please like and subscribe, and comment if you have any suggestions on what video I should do next. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.